Hey, what's up? I'm back. Yo, please ignore my fucking farmer's tan I got going on. It's worse than this arm, my driving arm. You see it with the light. With the lights on, just in preparation of when it gets dark. I'm a little afraid of the summer bugs of unusual size dive bombing my light, but hopefully that's not going to happen. I don't know where to start today. I don't know where to start. I'm kind of like pre-recording readings so that I can, drop one every day while I'm working. I can still get the messages out. I still have some new decks that I haven't had a chance to work with. So I'm being drawn to this one. Teen Angel Oracle. I got this one for my son because my son will ask me to do a reading for him every once in a while, and I haven't really had a chance to get into it yet. So I think I'm going to go with this one today. We're going to do a teen oracle message. And what I think is cool and a little confusing about this is I got this deck and it's got these cards, and then I like to say to believe in the impossible, right? In this deck, there's just this random card that says the impossible made possible. And I love that. I took that as a sign. Sign of what? Sign of believing in the impossible. Okay. Why not? Better than believing in worst case scenarios, right? I don't know. I've never been a pessimist. Even when the shit in my life has really hit the fan and I really didn't know how much more I could take, I've always believed in the brighter side. There's just really no other way to be. I mean, there is other ways to be, right? But I don't know where I'm going with this. I have a little bit of a headache today. Feeling a little foggy right now. I'm just gonna get into these cards. 3 minutes in, I haven't even pulled a card yet. Sorry. I'm a talker. Shut the fuck up sometimes. Alright, sorry. Let's go. What do you messages do you have? The highest question I was watching. Please and thank you. There's something trying to come through. Listening. See, I said there's something trying to come through and I wanted to stop. Listen. Listening. This is a beautiful card. I love it. And this is purple with roses. Oh my God. What? Listening. Somebody needs to spend more time listening. Listening to their intuition, listening to the silence. You know, they say that prayer is talking to God and meditation is listening. Number 26, which is the number 8. What else? These cards are kind of awkward. Family time. Maybe someone needs to spend more time listening to their family. Maybe someone needs to spend more time listening to their children. Look at this. It's family time, right? This little girl is talking to this angel. And this woman is not saying this angel's not saying anything. She's just listening. I know these are teen oracle cards, right? And I assume that it's a message for teens, but I feel like somebody needs to spend more time listening to their children. One more, please. This is also a number 8. Well, it's a 17. 1 plus 7 is 8. What else? Boundaries. And choose optimism. What the fuck was I saying when I first started this reading? Choose optimism. This is also a number 8, 35. And this is a 39, which is 11, 12. The energy that I'm getting with these cards, with these boundaries and listening and family time and choosing optimism, I'm feeling an energy of needing to listen to your children and respecting their boundaries. Somebody is trying to enforce their boundaries, and in choosing optimism, you know, as parents, we worry a lot about our kids. I know I worry about my kids, and I'm always thinking, oh my God, what if this, what if that, right? But with this choosing optimism card, I'm getting this sense of trusting that you raised them right. Trusting that you did the right thing. And if I'm speaking to a younger energy who feels like their parents aren't listening, there's a communication barrier, of a butting of heads I'm getting. Where more time needs to be spent listening to what's really being said, instead of being on the defensive. You know, I was talking to my son and his girlfriend about this the other day, and they're young, but they have this understanding. They have this relationship where they can tell each other what's bothering them, or they can tell each other, you know, you did this and it bothers me, and they work it out. They have this communication, and I was really talking to them and telling them that as long as your mind is open and you have that self-awareness to look at yourself, if your child is telling you something that they don't like, instead of saying, well, I'm the parent and you're the child and you do what I say, that's not respecting their boundaries. That's not respecting their feelings. And I know that there are a lot of parents out there that don't feel like they need to respect their children, that their children need to respect them, and that's all there is to it. But that is not humankind. That's not compassion. That's not loving. You know, we don't own our children. We were gifted our children, and we were gifted and entrusted with them, and not loving and respecting them or listening to them, listening to what it is that they have to say. You know, these kids are coming in with new, fresh perspectives. The children are our future. You know, it sounds so cliche, right? But they're our future, which means they have ideas and perspectives that are outside of the boxes that society has been living in. Change doesn't happen by enforcing the way things have always been. Change doesn't happen. Family patterns don't change if we just insist on doing things the way our parents did it. Yeah, we learn things from our parents. As parents, we're here to teach our children to be functioning members of society, right? How to be independent, how to be on their own, how to one day be able to live without us, because we're not going to be here forever. But in a parent-child relationship, from what I've learned, it's not all parent is the teacher, child is the student. A lot of times our children teach us things. But if we don't see it that way, if we don't listen and spend that quality time with them, put down your fucking phone and listen to your kids. If we don't take that time to do that, how are we going to learn? My kids amaze me at how smart and insightful they really are. Even when they were little, the things that come out of their mouths, you know, out of the mouths of babes, they say. Kids see things with this pureness, with this light that hasn't been tainted by society yet. They see no color. They see no hate. These things are taught. Choosing optimism. There's a lot of pessimism in parenting. A lot of times, I see it all the time, and it happened to me, and I see other people telling my kids these things. You know, a child will say, "I want to do this." Well, that's not a job. You'll never get anywhere doing that. What are you gonna do that for? Why would you want to do that? How is that listening? I feel it is the job of parents to love and nurture whatever idea they have. Whatever my kids want to go for it. I get upset, you know, when they quit. Because they, you know, sometimes they tend to have, not to put their business out there, but you know, I do it too. It's like we want to try something, and when we can't do it perfect the first time, get frustrated and say, fuck this shit, right? I remember in 4th grade, I wanted to play the flute. And it was a lot harder than I thought it would be. I thought I was just going to get on there and like, doo-doo-doo-doo, be fucking amazing. But it wasn't. It was not easy. It was not easy. And I wanted to quit. And then at the end of the year, when we had our concert, and I saw the 5th grade concert and the music they were playing. Here I am playing Mary Had a Little Lamb, and I was like, this sucks. I'm playing Mary Had a Little Lamb and Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Like, this is boring. But then I saw the 5th grade and the 6th grade band, and I was like, wow, I want to do that. So I kept going. In life, we want to do things and be perfect at it right away. But it doesn't work like that. It doesn't look like that. It doesn't look like that either. We see somebody excelling in something and we're like, oh my God, how do they do that? They started with baby steps just like everybody else. You know, you learn how to crawl before you learn how to walk. You learn how to walk before you learn how to run. You learn how to run before you learn how to run marathons. Everything is steps. Everything is growth and progression. These kids, a lot of the kids now, they just want to be adults. They just want to be adults, forgetting that childhood is what molds you to be an adult. You go from being, 10 to 21, and it gets steamrolled, right? Because you didn't learn all those lessons that most people learn between age 10 and age 21. So you go from 10 to 21, and God only knows what you go through. Everything is a progression, an understanding, a learning, a journey. I mean, even I want to fast forward. When I first started with my art, I wanted to be this amazing thing. I'd get so frustrated. And I had a friend of mine tell me, Therese, art isn't perfect. It sounds so simple, right? Art isn't supposed to be perfect, is what she said. That just blew my creativity wide open. Wait a second, it's not supposed to be perfect. I was so focused on making things perfect, and then I just decided to make things the way I wanted them to be. Somebody here is not listening. Somebody here is enforcing their idea of perfectionism on their kids and not allowing them to just be kids, not respecting their boundaries, not listening to them. How are our children supposed to grow up to be loving and compassionate people when they're not shown love and compassion? How are our children supposed to learn how to respect other people's boundaries and other people's feelings when theirs aren't respected? There needs to be a new way of communication here. Somebody's talking too much and not listening enough. Whether I'm talking to a child that doesn't want to listen to their parents, or I'm talking to a parent that doesn't listen to their kids. Either way, it goes both ways. It's a two-way street. Respect begets respect. Listening begets listening. Boundaries beget boundaries. Parents need boundaries too. Some people think because they're your kids, you just got to give them everything. You know what I mean? That's not the way. Then we end up with adults that think they have a right to everything they touch because they weren't taught boundaries. And then there are parents who think they have a right to be in everything their kids are doing. In their journals, in their phone conversations, in their everything. I understand keeping an eye out, paying attention to what your kids are doing. That's important. But with respect. Choosing optimism. Like I said, there's a communication barrier going on here. Choosing optimism. Saying what needs to be said. Listening to what comes back. That's a conversation. Listening is just as important as talking in a conversation. And choosing optimism is, I'm getting like this scenario, well, if I say this, they're going to say that. And if I tell them this, they're just going to tell me that. Maybe come at it a different way, and you'll get a different result. Maybe believe that there's another way, that there's a breakthrough ahead. I still do. But I used to have a lot more trouble communicating with my mom, and the communication between us didn't change until I changed. I was so defiant. I didn't want to hear what she had to say. All my resentment, my anger, took offense to everything. And you know what? Maybe she does still try and trigger me. But me reacting differently, me actually trying to listen to her instead of trying to correct her. I just heard the word course correct. Somebody's trying to course correct a child that is choosing optimism. Somebody's trying to course correct a child that's believing in something different. Our children's path does not have to be our path. It doesn't make it wrong. It just makes it a different path. I feel like I would have gotten a lot farther, or would have explored my art a lot earlier in life if I wasn't told that there's no way you can make a living as an artist. I see people making a living as an artist all the time. Our words are valuable. Our words are powerful, especially when it comes to talking to our children. Something we might be able to say to our friend. I mean, I have some friends that would be like, whatever, shut up, fuck you, and we'll laugh about it. But you can't say that to your kids. They don't know you're kidding. They don't know you didn't mean it. And they take everything to heart. And they might not remember your words, but your words help mold them. That's what our job as parents is, to mold our children. Think of it like a potter. You're molding this perfect vase. But every time you insult them, every time you tell them they're wrong for choosing optimism, every time you tell them that their feelings are wrong, every time you tell them that them wanting to set their boundaries is wrong, every time you tell them they're too sensitive, they're not good enough, or they're a disappointment, or they're not doing enough because they don't get A's all the time. I hate to break it to you, school's not that fucking important. Unless they want to be doctors, law professionals. And if that's what they want to be, they know what they need to do. I'm not going to get into the school system and all of that. I'm not going to go there right now. But like I was saying, every time you throw these things at them, you have this wet clay in your hands. And instead of it going smoothly, you're putting another dent and another dent and another dent and another dent. And when they become adults, that clay dries and they're molded with all these dents, and they have to try and figure out how they're going to sand it away and reprogram. They can't go back to childhood and be wet clay anymore. Now you're solid clay. What happens when solid clay gets banged around? It shatters. Now they're a shattered adult trying to figure out how to fix themselves. Listen. Spend time with your family. Respect boundaries. And choose optimism. Parent and child relationship is one of the most precious relationships there are. It's one of the most important, if not the most important. The future is in the hands of these parent-child relationships. And people are just out there fucking up their kids, paying attention to bullshit. And then wonder why they don't want to listen. Listen with your heart. not your ears. See them as yourself as a child. Look them in their eyes when you say things to them. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's going to say the most loving and valuable things all the time. But it's about not only listening to them, but listening to yourself. Self-talk, everybody talks about self-talk all the time, right? And how we're supposed to pay attention to the things that we tell ourselves, because we become the things we tell ourselves. Your children become the things you tell them. Be mindful of your speech. I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave it at that. Be mindful of your speech and listen. You're beautiful. I love you.